Hi everyone. Hi everyone. This is Rama and welcome to Sip and Speak with Rama. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. I think you're gonna like it. If I could show you my view right now, you'd be amazed. If you could hear clearly, it's raining cats and dogs, and it's beautiful to watch it rain, but pour. It's just beautiful. How much clouds must have amassed to pour like this. But anyway, I was telling a friend of mine something. I think we were having a regular conversation, and then the conversation transcended into something else. Then the topic of God and his existence, came in. And I was telling her that, honestly, had God not been on my side, I don't think I would make it. Honestly, I was explaining to her that there are so many things that has happened in my life that proves of God's existence. I know people have different stories, people have different theories, people have different projections about a higher power. I do respect all of that. I feel like everybody is entitled to their opinion, their faith, and all of that. But that is definitely not going to stop me from talking about the power that I believe in. And hopefully, I wish that people will get to experience it. Back in Ghana, it was my graduation at a certain time. My mother had come to Ghana and we'd had an argument. And when that happened, I was furious. I'm not the child that talks back because obviously she did a good job. I never talk back at my parents or anything of that sort. Even if she was in the wrong, I would never utter a word because she did a good job raising me. Initially at the time I thought that was tough and that she was being wicked to me. But now that I look at it, I think she did an excellent job. Because I'll talk about that later. But let's get back to this moment. When we had the argument, it was over something meager. But maybe to her it wasn't. I was angry about the whole situation because it happened on my graduation, my special day. I was angry. I cried so much because I'm like, it could have happened any day. It could have happened tomorrow. It could have happened yesterday. We could have argued about this. This misunderstanding could have happened any day. But the fact that the consideration of this day was not done really hurt me, And so, like always, I began to walk. I walked as far as I could. And that's the thing about me. I alienate myself from an uncomfortable situation. Some may call it cowardice. It's just that I feel like it's too much energy that I have to exert into explaining myself, into making you understand what you did was wrong, or all of that. Sometimes I feel like a little bit of silence or parting away sometimes gives you each time to think. And then without even voicing a word, it works. You come back. And it always works for me. Do what works for you. For me, this works for me. And so I got angry and I began to walk far away from the house and I walked towards the junction. Our family house is an SCC. And the junction to the house is about a 10-minute walk. And so I walked towards there. And then I sat in front of a salon that had closed because the whole event happened at night around 9 o'clock. As I sat there, I began to sob. I cried profusely. I cried profusely because I'm like, everybody's probably with their family enjoying this special day. Their kid has graduated, but I'm here crying because I've had an argument with my mother, which she brought up. I know she probably is going to say, well, she brought up. And I had to go in and all of that. So that was a bit crazy. And so as I sat there, I cried and cried and cried. Then I bowed my head towards the ground and covered my head with it, my hand with it. Then I see that, from how I had bowed my head, I could see 2 feet, standing next to me. At this point, nothing was going to surprise me. Nothing scared me. The emotions had heightened that it had taken the better part of me. It wouldn't even allow, there was no space to have any other extra emotion or anything of that sort. So I saw 2 feet, and then I lifted my head. And then I saw this tall man wearing a blue Lacoste with white trimming, well tucked in. And this person looked like he was with a group of people, but he had separated himself to come to me. Now, the man is very good looking, I must say. Very good looking, probably in his early 20s or late 20s, but definitely in his 20s. Maybe in his early 30s, if he, give or take. And so this man comes and taps me, and it's like, this is how this man, whom I haven't met before, who, nobody knew I was crying because my head was bowed, okay? And, he taps me as though he knew the background of the situation. He taps me, and then he's like, he sounded so good and so clear, and it sounded out of the world. The sound, he said, I know what you're going through, but I'm here to tell you, you'll be okay. And then I looked at him and I spoke back and I said, you don't know what I'm going through. This man tapped me again and said, I said it will be okay. If anybody told me this story, I'd be like, this sounds like a storybook story. This sounds like something out of the world, something that you're making up, like a fallacy. But this happened to me. And I have held on to this story for the past 12 years or 15 years. And so I said, you don't know what happened. You don't know me. We only exchanged these, just 2 words, and that's it. Then I tend to bend my head again for only a few seconds. Now, once I lifted my head, now this is it. The path that I could see, anybody in the far end coming or going, you would see them. Once I lifted my head, after 2 seconds, the body that touched me had disappeared. I didn't see the body again. I didn't see the body again. I didn't see the person again. I didn't see the man again. I didn't see the man that tapped me. I didn't see the man that spoke to me. I didn't see the man that said everything was going to be okay. I didn't see the man that I interacted with at that instance. That scared me. It sent me shivers all over my body. I was like, and then I began to pace with my face. I'm like, that scared me. And then I cleaned my eyes. I cleaned my tears. And then I began walking back home. When I walked back home, whatever had happened between my mother and I didn't think about. And my thoughts are vested in whatever happened in front of the salon. I began processing because this was weird. This was just ridiculous, this encounter. I do know angels exist, but I didn't think they really existed. And to date, after 12 or 15 years, I still believe I had an encounter with Jesus, or I had an encounter with an angel. somebody spoke to that man. Something spoke to that man, and the man actually came to speak to me. And with that, I have always held on to those few words this man said. Every time I'm going through some shit, like I'm talking about like real shit, every time some fucked up shit is happening in my life, my family can attest to it. I tend to relax a lot. And then they begin to wonder why I'm not reacting to it. Now, that encounter I had with this man 10 to 15, or 12 to 15 years ago, the few words he spoke to me when he said everything is going to be okay has always been my mantra. When I see myself in shit, in a fucked up shit, in a situation I cannot contain, in a situation that's supposed to break me, I always remember this man that was in the Lacoste when he said everything is all going to be okay. I was telling a friend of mine today that I may seem to be a very interesting person, funny, bubbly to some, obnoxious to others, which is okay. I'm not ice cream. I can't please everybody, but mostly funny. If you tend to get closer to me, you see the funny side, and you probably are going to love it. But inherently, I don't play with my faith. The word no, when there is supposed to be a yes, has always been like a little pickle, especially knowing that I go by this mantra that says everything is going to be okay. I was telling a friend about the time when I was getting ready to write my board exam to a date. I feel like whatever happened in that exam room, I have absolutely no control. I had absolutely no control over it. Because after writing that exam, I knew bluntly, I knew I had failed. I knew I had failed. Like the fact that I was just selecting these questions without even reading them, or selecting these answers without even reading them, I knew I had failed. And so I came out crying. And so after 24 hours, when I found out that I had passed, and this is just 2 weeks after graduating school, I was in shock. And to date, if anybody asks me how I passed that board, I keep telling them, honey, I don't know what to tell you, but God interceded on my behalf. Because, again, an angel came in that room, and I don't care what you're going to think. You're entitled to your opinion. But one thing I'm going to use my platform for is talk about everything, including my faith. I'm going to talk about my travels. I'm going to talk about certain challenges. I'm going to talk about my faith. Again, I may seem to be the funny person, maybe obnoxious. I like to dance. I like music. I like wine. I like good food. Maybe a little bit non-conforming, but nothing comes between me and my faith. My faith in God is just inexplicable. You know, I cannot. An outsider will not understand it because I have actually seen His existence in my life. Sometimes, every time it's my birthday, I always put the same caption saying that God has made me a reflection of His existence. Like through me, or based off on who I am, people know God exists because it is evident, you know, in everything I do, in the actions. Honestly, I'm not like a staunch, like an active person. There are many times that I flout the rules. There are many times I sin. There are many times I fall short of the glory of God. But one thing that God has never taken from me is the mercy and favor that He always has on me. Sorry about that. God does so many wonderful things to me, or for me, to the extent that my mother sometimes looks at me and said, hey, that's a beautiful thing to say, right? Mm-hmm. And so, honestly, today, I wanted to talk about movies. A movie I'd watched on Netflix, Bandy, which I'd say you should watch if you have Netflix. But I just felt to talk about this, you know, whenever you're feeling down. Because honestly, Some days I do have very tough days. Some days I do have it tough. But I don't show it. I'm not, oh, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it. But some days can be pretty tough. What I would usually do is talk to God. Mm-hmm. Like talk to God like the way, I'm talking to you. You don't have to be conventional. I mean, if that works for other people, but talk to God like the way you would go and say, hey, damn, Pacho, this and that. Interact, basically. That's the word. Interact with God. Have a conversation with God. If your finances are not going well, your education is not going, your career, your relationships, your marriage, your mood, your thought, mental health, all of that. There is no exception to what God has asked us to ask of Him. I would advise that you talk to God. I mean, some people prefer to speak through a prophet or, me kokache me pastor, na pastor no, mama kontre. I mean, that's fine if that works for you. But one thing I'm not doing is that. Because if I have a free flight to a destination, which in this case, if I have the right connection, the direct connection to talk to God, I don't see the need to, no shade, I just wouldn't do that. I will kneel and talk to God directly because I believe that He's going to hear it regardless. But if you want to go through a pastor or any of you think, the man of God, that's fine if that works for you. But what I would say is He also hears you when you speak directly to Him. And honestly, if it falls in line with the things that He wants for you, honestly, there's no way you're not going to get it. If you want a child or you want marriage or you want something regarding your career and it falls in line with the purpose that God wants for you, what makes you think you're not going to get it? I mean, it only makes sense, right? So go on your knees. Go on your ashy knees. I am dry. Go fun. If you lay on your bed. What kitchen crack kasa? Dry crack kasa. What it? No more in the crack kasa. What it? It works. It works. I'm not even lying. And I wouldn't lie though. But it works. If you're going through mental health issues, just watch like sometimes it's not about money, sometimes it's not about material stuff. You just want a sound mind, you want peace and all of that. Tell God and see. I don't lie to you, like for real, you'll be shocked. Tell God to go on your ashy knees and pray. If you find yourself in a fucked up situation, some shitty ass situation, even if it's at work, what did you say? Look for those stick notes, write the situation on the sticker note and paste it there. That's your prayer. And that's how you are administering faith. God will intervene. If you're lonely, talk to God. We can move your mouth. If I say, oh, that's why you're lonely, then all of a sudden you're engaged. That's how it works in all those ways. Like it's not about those things you call big miracles and stuff. It cuts across. So when I accommodate, so when I know I get my idea. Make spaghetti. Spaghetti now by me. So today, dear, we're just going to talk about my faith. I'm just talking about that. All I'm going to say is just talk to God. It works. Having faith can be hard, especially during the waiting period. Now, you don't have to be in Holy Mama Jesus. Nah. As long as you consider yourself, say, God is your savior and He created you. Hey, we are showing you crap on that. Bompire Dunyam. Mayama. I say our righteousness is the filter rag. It's a filter rag, and now you say it. Toma. You come on. You know it. Bompire. Then Cassa. Jai so when a nam now come home some church and coffee. You couldn't jaw as who couldn't bo no ako catches missy. You are not so catch you. Come on, pie. Tipai or car now. Boko doctor no uncle, na bompire. Remember I concert. The only one son I said, you're because now for doctor, ideas no can, right now. Sometimes you just have to pray for what? Ideas. Sometimes you just have to pray for discernment. Yeah, because I say me preach. Hey, me preach a best fucking. That's fucking. And am I gonna say, my brethren? I mentioned to me once. You preach a best. Well, see, when you're going through when you're going through some shit, I keep saying, really, I'll keep saying it. I'll keep saying it. See, I learned these things because me, I'm an only child. It can be tough. It can be tough, especially when you don't really have somebody to talk to, like a sibling. You'd consider your friends as your siblings, but it doesn't always be like that. You might consider them but they probably will not consider you that way. So you have to learn how to sometimes keep certain things to yourself, or sometimes fight certain battles by yourself. We are all in this battle together. If anything is going wrong, you are going to finish yourself. You are going to drink a incredible price now cost. It's called big deals. It's called what a fallacy. What ironic. Get on your ashy knees and start talking to God, my friend. And stop talking about your problems to people. Talking, okona, catch away. Na near was so on and cassava. On and kai. Or call. Na, you cry, you see. Na, as soon as you see. You say, in Crawford, and I'm going to record it because they are just waiting for that one day you step on their toes so that they bring it up. You'll be shocked. That's so wine. Get on your ashy knee and pray to God and let Him fix the things that He does. Let Him do the things that He does. But until then, this is Sip and Speak with Rama. Maybe I'll talk about the movie tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page. I've seen some of you are new there. I saw my first video got 101 views. Hey, I popped champagne. I was happy. I was so excited. 100 views. It's not. Hopefully it gets more. Once you share and subscribe, you're going to get more. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this video and it kind of gingers you to do something. Or to pray, talk to the Father and let Him do the thing that He does best. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. This has been Sip and Speak with Rama. My coke is not done. I can't even finish it anymore. But yeah, have a good week. Bye.